of Taiwan. I'm Ethan Liu with 10 minutes of news from here in Taiwan and around the world. Asia's biggest offshore wind farm has completed its first phase of construction. President Taiwan was at Taichung Port to mark the occasion.
从2016年到现在，离岸风电已经安装完成了296座，累计装置容量已经达到2.37 吉瓦。预计在今年，风机的座数将超过300座。
Tsai was speaking at the farm's inauguration ceremony. It's run by Danish energy firm Ørsted. She praised the company for bringing Taiwan closer to its sustainable energy goals. The new wind farms have already doubled Taiwan's offshore wind power capacity. Think Taiwan? Most people think semiconductors, but the country is also a major exporter of electronic displays. More and more of these screens are now being used in vehicles, but there's debate over whether they add or subtract from driving safety. Chris Gorin explains.
Screens, they're everywhere. In your living room, on your desk, in your pocket, even on your wrist. And there's more coming your way.
We have a lot of bendable, flexible, transparent, things that displays couldn't do in years past.
And Taiwanese companies are hoping to bring screens to people wherever they can.
This is Touch Taiwan, a convention for display technologies. Displays have been one of Taiwan's fastest growing exports this year. And among the technologies relevant to everyday life that have been getting a lot of attention are vehicle displays, both for inside and outside the car.
In the next generation of cars, screens might take up the whole dashboard, roll up inside the seat, even take up part of the side windows. But do these high-tech screens improve the driving experience? Not according to the research. Studies from the UK and Sweden have shown that using touch screens is even more distracting than using smartphones while driving, and it makes people worse drivers.
Those touch screen and big screens are definitely a distraction. But the automakers have been implementing this strategy for the past few years, mostly for cost-saving strategies, because they don't have to install physical buttons and dials.
But manufacturers say screens could also improve safety by putting them on the outside of the car, for example, letting other cars know if it's slowing down or if pedestrians are nearby.
There is lots of different kinds of situations on the road or different very chaotic traffic. So this display will definitely improve the overall driver safety.
So when might we start seeing these screens showing up in new cars?
For micro LEDs, that's still an industry secret. But sooner than you think, that's all I can say.
Whatever your opinion is of having more screens in and on cars, it seems that they're coming. So new car buyers, buckle up. You're in for a long ride into the future. Ryan Wu and Chris Gorin for TaiwanPlus.
Senior officers of the U.S. Space Force say a growing network of Chinese satellites could be used in an attack on Taiwan. Speaking in London, the officers say China's space and counter-space capabilities are growing rapidly. These capabilities include new spy satellites and missiles that could disrupt the U.S. and its allies. They also said the satellite network could upgrade China's surveillance in the Indo-Pacific to project power further and more accurately. Honduras' shrimp industry has been suffering since the country broke diplomatic ties with Taiwan last year. Local media reports say 60% of shrimp farms have closed and tens of thousands are out of work. Shrimp is the Central American country's 5th largest export, and Taiwan was previously one of its biggest markets. Since the country broke diplomatic ties with Taiwan in favor of China, shrimp farmers say they've struggled to find new markets. Conservation groups are calling for better protection for Taiwan's endangered leopard cats. It comes as more of the wild animals are being spotted around reservoir construction sites in central Taiwan. Over the past 5 years, 21 leopard cats have been caught on cameras set up to monitor their movements in the area. The conservation groups are worried that the construction could threaten the animal's natural habitat. They say the dumping of waste soil in the nearby river has forced leopard cats to leave their familiar surroundings. After the Chinese Civil War, refugees arriving in Taiwan were forced to build shelters wherever they could. Bryn Thomas looks at how these now disappearing villages from that time helped structure a cultural identity.
If you find yourself in Taoyuan, take a walk to one of the military dependence villages on the edge of town. Between where the high-rises end and the cemeteries and mountains begin, you'll find a tangle of narrow alleys passing through squat brick buildings with black tile roofs. Self-contained communities like these used to be common in Taiwan, providing housing for uprooted Chinese soldiers and services for their families.
这边以前还有一个杂货店，我的同学一个住68号。 那还有一个64号，这个小时候的记忆全部都在这个村子里面。
Liang is descended from one of the more than 600,000 Republic of China soldiers that retreated to Taiwan with the nationalists at the end of the Chinese Civil War. They and their families were forced to settle on public land in the 40s and 50s, building temporary shelters from whatever was at hand. Most came with nothing and for years relied on military rations.
以前因为我们砂糖它不是一包一包，它是整桶或是一个大麻布袋，所以你要1斤，好，我们就称1斤给你；你要半斤，我们就称半斤。所以像这个油也是，米也是，小时候的最爱，金干嘛疼？以前小时候基本上是没有叫零用钱这个钱，这个糖果我们就是很省着吃，通常都是。 舔了一口，舔了几口以后，我们会放在塑胶袋里面，然后想到再吃。
For years, poverty was a fact of life in military villages. Any extra outdoor space was turned over to growing food.
Okay.
And residents got used to living shoulder to shoulder with very little privacy.
大家都知道眷村房子很小，那么大家洗澡呢，通通都在厨房里。然后他那男孩子也会很皮，看到谁家的厨房哦是没开灯的，到了晚上不亮灯的，就在想他家一定有人在洗澡，那他就会去想尽办法去这样跑过这个巷子去给他敲敲，或者丢个小石头，反正让里面的人很紧张就对了。里面的那个女生一叫，那个妈妈们一定会出来。 又吼又叫，究竟是谁呀？是哪一个人啊？
But with this forced proximity came community. Military dependence villages were a hub of mainlander culture in Taiwan. Their residents spent their lives packed in together, sharing recipes and looking after each other's kids.
在眷村来讲，哈。 应该算是一个时代的产物，太辛苦了，颠沛流离。有了眷村以后，它就有点有根的感觉。我们到台湾来以后，就住这里是住最久，盖了这个眷舍，我们就在这边就住了40、50年啊，已经是不能讲第2个家，这就是完全就是我的家。
But as time passed, these thrown together communities began to show their age. By the 1980s, they were widely considered to be slums, and by the 90s, urban planners were eyeing them for renewal. Today, only about 30 of some 900 dependence villages still exist, and lawmakers around Taiwan are scrambling to preserve them and the cultural heritage they represent.
如果我们要保存这个眷村文化，单靠一个眷村事实上是有不足的。眷村铁三角串联这几个基地，让它成为一个眷村文化传承的共同的平台。
Today, many of Taiwan's remaining dependence villages are used as exhibition spaces, while others sit empty on the edge of town. As they fast disappear from the urban landscape, volunteers such as these hope they'll remain part of Taiwan's cultural memory. Scott Huang and Bryn Thomas for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwanese drag queen Nymphia Wind will perform in Paris as part of the Olympic cultural program. Nymphia won the latest season of US TV competition RuPaul's Drag Race, the first Taiwanese winner ever, drawing international attention to the country's drag scene. The Culture Ministry says she will join around 20 other Taiwanese performance groups for the Cultural Olympiad held alongside the Summer Games. Thank you for watching today's What's Up Taiwan. You can visit the TaiwanPlus website and follow our social media for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Before we go, check out these windsurfers taking part in an Olympic qualifier event in southern France. I'm Ethan Liu. Take care, and I'll see you next time.